Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket or you're just happy to see me?
Warriors, come out to play. 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 Warriors, come out to play.
Luther is one of those villains that, while his performance is or can be comical in a way, he's still a menace. He's still a menace because there's that, like, basically he's the human equivalent of a live wire. Pretty much. It's pretty much the human equivalent of a live wire. So it's like, I don't want to say, like, when I say comical, I mean, like, it's like, yeah, you're kind of engrossed in his performance in a way, pretty much, because how he delivers his lines. But at the same time, it's like you're still put off because of, like, anything could possibly, all right, make him snap. Like, you see, like, he goes, like, he gets, he kind of, like, loses his mind over, at one point in the movie, and it's, what is it, like, he wants a candy bar or something. It's like, what? But anyway, so, but all right, so I'm going to be kind of going through this. I'm not going to touch on necessarily every little thing that happens in this movie, just because it would be a long stream if I did. I'm going to cover big parts of the film, like, the overall premise of the film, my thoughts on, like, certain characters and so forth. And, like, basically, like, just, like, overall impressions of the film. It's like one of the films I love. It's from 1979. It's called The Warriors. And I want to read it after I say hello to the chat. I want to read some bits of trivia for you guys, like some things that I never really knew about this film. Like, I knew some things about this film, but I didn't really know, like, certain things that happened when this film was released. And I think you guys might find it a little bit interesting. Also, and I agree with Lethal to an extent. All right, I agree with Lethal to an extent. It is a modern The Odyssey, right? For those who remember any of your English classes, chances are you had to read The Odyssey in high school. Basically about Odysseus, who leaves his wife, who's just given birth to a son, has to go fight in the Trojan War, and then all he wants to do is come home. But because he pisses off the gods, particularly Poseidon, his voyage home is impeded at every fucking turn. So it takes him about 21 years to return home. So, yeah, and this is pretty much a modern day Odyssey with, few key differences, but not exactly beat for beat, but at the same time, it is definitely a modern take on the premise of the Odyssey, like, trying to return home. And it should be an easy journey. It should be an easy journey, but every turn taken, something happens. Some obstacle is in the way of the warriors. They have to fight, they have to run, what have you, pretty much. But it's literally that premise from the Odyssey. But so, and I will say, I would not exactly teach my kids exactly this, but if you've read any Greek mythology, and by, like, to an extent, Roman mythology, because the Romans stole from the Greeks pretty fucking much, the gods and goddesses are assholes. They really fucking are. They go out of their way to meddle in the affairs of the immortals, sometimes just for pure shits and giggles, which makes them pretty much assholes. Whichever one was available on Amazon, Trey, I see your question. So, like I said, I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty, so I'm not exactly going to go into full in depth details about this movie. But I am going to give overall thoughts and so forth. There's a little bits of trivia talking about the characters and so forth. So from the top, I see Keely. Hello, Gravy for $4.99 super chat. Thank you. Says, hey, lovely Mara. I didn't get a chance to rewatch this. I'll listen to your stream to jog my memory. No worries. I don't think this one had the comic panels. I don't think it had a comic panel, so I don't think it's the director's cut. So hey Trey, ready for the discussion? Yeah. Can you dig it? Yes. So we're going over the overall premise of the film. Ms. Martin Muses, hello. Oh, and this kind of reminds me. Might add a little segment. And Steve, I see you in the chat. Say you gave me this idea about recapping, because you all seem to enjoy my little D&D stories. You all seem to enjoy that, so I might add it at the end of my streams, regardless of what I'm talking about. And it's it'll be a segment called "This One Time" in D&D scenario, pretty much. So for those of you who did not watch either my Kick or Twitch streams earlier this week, I'll go back over what Therese and I did in a nutshell, pretty much. Because we play Conan D&D together. Her character's a thief, my character's a temptress, but we kick ass. So I'll be going over that. So it's basically this one time in D&D scenario. Stieg, okay, I'll read this chat. I try to avoid reading yours as much as possible, just for this reason. But hi, Mara, you smoochy slow motion running Baywatch babe at Malibu Beach. Hope you are well. Thank you so much. I'm not gonna use that many descriptive adjectives. Stieg. Charlie Stevens, hello. Good to see you. Yes, this is my Kick. I'm at 111 followers. Recently reached affiliate, so basically on the Kick grind. I have not given up Twitch. I'll be on Twitch tomorrow afternoon. Because again, I worked hard to get to 1,000 followers. I worked hard to reach affiliates on that, so I'm not going to completely give it up. So, but I will be on Twitch. But this is my Kick. I'll be on Kick Friday. So, gaming or what? Yo, good to see you. Damn, Black Red, hands down, the best movie about missing the train and having to march home. Well, yeah, that's pretty much about sums it up, but a little more to it. I guess that's where I was muted. I forgot that I muted my mic before I played the videos because I was watching Wicked stream. So, okay, at some point I will watch Twin Peaks. You do not realize my schedule is constrained. You do not realize that. But okay, these on Twin Peaks, and he is a good actor. He is a good actor. So, and this is my Twitch. Like I said, I've not completely given it up, even though the person who has recently taken over as CEO of Twitch has. You have the big streamers on Twitch even saying this guy has no fucking clue what to do. But not giving it up just yet. And this is my live channel. Yep, I will be there also Friday afternoon, going over some topics. So come check that out. Cowman, what's up? Can you dig it? Yes, he is that. That whole speech is very theatrical, but at the same time, it's you just have to watch it. I'm not saying theatrical is in a bad way, because you do have to have whenever you're trying to get gangs to put aside their differences long enough to not kill each other, you do kind of have to be theatrical and get their attention. So I dig it. I get it. So I know, but there's certain beats. There are certain beats in this film where it's I see the Odyssey. I'm not saying it's solely beat for beat based on the Odyssey, but there are certain premises there's the overall premise trying to return home and being impeded at every opportunity, pretty much, and it's what happens to Odysseus in the Odyssey. So Corey, hello, good to see you. Shield Wall of Dragons, what's up? Norse gods are better. Oh, I'm just saying, like, Greek gods and Roman gods are assholes. Jaluk, what's up? Galadorn, hello. Yeah, this one time on D&D. Yeah. This was old New York City before it got cleaned up and eventually reverted back to its... Yeah, it's... Yep. I see that. Yep. Dear God, Steve. But anyway. Okay, so I want to read a little bit of trivia. I want to read like a little bit of trivia for you guys. And the reason why I kind of say it's the Odyssey, because there's certain elements that also, like, it kind of makes me think of like certain parts in the Odyssey, like the Lizzies, for example. You could kind of consider them like the sirens. Sirens, in mythology, typically lured sailors to their doom, pretty much. And like the Lizzies kind of lure a few of the swans, not swans, but a few of the warriors, because Swan is the main warrior we follow when they're returning home. Few of the warriors to pretty much their doom, or at least they're going to attempt to their doom, because well, we'll get into the scenario. We're getting into the scenario. But I'm saying, like, again, like, they kind of represent the sirens a little bit. All right. And also like a little bit of the island of Calypso parts, where yeah, didn't fool Rembrandt, but the other two are all about staying. So there's a little bit of combination of the sirens and the island of Calypso from the Odyssey. That's I can see there's similarities, whether or not they were intentional. But I'm watching this. I recently just taught the Odyssey for not substitute, but my student teaching, so it's like fresh in my mind, pretty much. Hound 3000, good to see you. Yeah, he Rembrandt was really the OG Be Gone thought. Like, he was not having it. He was like we have to leave. Trying to get the other two to leave. He was so he was on his game, pretty much. The other two were easily drawn in, but he was like, nah, we got to get home. So he had his focus right, pretty much. Be gone thoughts. But anyway, there's some bits of trivia. All right, I didn't quite know. But Sol Urich, the author of the book, the original book, wrote it originally as a rebuttal to the romanticized view of street gangs presented in West Side Story, right? Because he basically worked as a New York City welfare department worker, so he really saw the nitty gritty and basically the dredges of New York for what they really are, pretty much, right? In street gangs. So and you had West Side Story come out, and again, I'm not a fan of musicals. I don't hate them. People automatically assume when you say that you're not a fan of something, that means you hate something. I don't, because there are musicals that I actually love. But for the most part, as a genre, I'm not a fan of musicals, right? But I'm really not a fan of West Side Story. Not so much the premise, but the fact that the premise is set to a musical, and I cannot take street gangs seriously who break out into pirouettes and jazz hands. All right, if you're going to have that premise, it should be a straight drama. It should be a straight serious drama, because these are supposed to be street gangs. These are supposed to be like, you don't want to mess with these guys. All right, I can see that. I would love that as a concept for a modern adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. I can't take it as a musical. I really cannot fucking take it as a musical because of that reason. All right, but he wrote it as like an anti-West Side Story because of the romanticized depictions of street gangs in that movie. So he's like, no, I'm seeing these for what they really are, not this shit. So he wrote, the original book was written with that intention. All right. Second one was the original poster. Okay, the original poster featured the words. Okay, quote. These are the armies of the night. They are 100,000 strong. They outnumber the cops 5-1. They could run New York City. All right, that kind of goes into the initial premise of the movie, because you have the Gramercy Riffs. All right, their leader, Cyrus. All right, trying to unite the gangs because he comes to the realization we outnumber the cops in this city. So rather than kill each other, how about we unite and actually take over the city? All right. So basically that premise was summed up on the poster. But this upset and outraged many people, according to the trivia, to the point where some even tried to have the film banned. All right. Some even tried to have the film banned because of the wording on the poster. Yeah, nobody is wasting nobody. Yes. Well, there's a little bit of trivia to that. Like, like because there was an original premise that they wanted, that the movie was originally going to go in. I'll get into that a little bit. All right, but yeah, because they didn't like the wording on the poster. Yeah. All right. So, and there's another one I wanted to read. Okay, there's another one I wanted to read. Okay. You'll get a morbid kick out of this. All right, you'll get a morbid kick out of this. I see a member chat from Sunny and Brave Megatron. He's been a member for 16 months. Thank you so much. He writes, and I quote, "I'm completely butt naked right now." Well, obviously, Megatron, I would expect nothing less from you. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for the member message. But anyway, here's this little bit of trivia. All right. According to the filmmakers on the Ultimate Edition DVD, the film was going to be a big hit after the movie was #1 at the box office charts, despite negative reviews from critics. Okay, it earned $3.5 million in its opening weekend, which is pretty fucking good for 1979. $3.5 million in its opening weekend, really good for 1979. However, word of mouth and a couple of incidents killed the film's momentum. And what were these incidents? According to Walter Hill, what had happened was gangs were attracted to the film and they had seen their rival gangs and caused violent incidents. Pretty much, you had gang fights at these showings. Real gang fights at these showings. Paramount Pictures panicked and decided to pull the movie out of theaters. Lawrence Gordon said the movie still kept going while the studio pulled the movie out of marketing. Despite this, the movie went on to be not only a cult hit, but also a timeless classic. It even made a profit since it earned $22.4 million in initial box office receipts against a budget of only $6 to $7 million. So basically, you had actual gang fights at movie showings for the Warriors because of the word of mouth. All right. And you'll get a kick out of this one as well. All right. You find it because an actual gang was hired to protect the film vans for this movie. I'm trying to find the trivia. The film trucks were protected by a real gang called the Mongrels for $500 a day. $500 a day. And I know this movie, the production lasted at least 8 weeks. Because there's one of the characters that was killed in this movie was killed because he was such a pain in the ass for the director. All right, that was the actor who played Fox. Okay, so you $500 a week times 7, right? $3,500 a week times 8. Made pretty good fucking money. Pretty good fucking money for that time period. And it was an actual gang. Biker gang still around in SoCal, yeah. It was an actual gang. So, yeah. Hey, Drew, the stream's going to be magic, whole lot of magic. Thank you so much. But anyway, and here I'll highlight this. This is the trivia. All right, in the script, Fox was originally the love interest of Mercy. Okay, Mercy's like the female lead of sorts that kind of becomes the love interest of Swan. But there was no chemistry, and the Mercy romance was transferred to Swan. Thomas G. Waits, he plays Fox, all right, was fired 8 weeks into principal photography for being difficult and arguing with Walter Hill. His character was removed from the movie by having a cop throw him into the path of a train during a fight. To this day, Hill feels bad about, Walter Hill feels bad about the rough times he had with Waits. Waits is not in the final credits because he demanded that his name be removed. Which is like, if I were Hill, I would not regret it. It's like, not only was he difficult to work with, right, for like 8 fucking weeks, but if you demand that your name be removed from the movie, then I'd be like, fuck you, all right? Like, I'd move on at that point. Like, fuck you. So, hey, Terra Crystal, no worries. I haven't really gotten into the movie yet. I've basically just been going over some trivia. I believe it. I believe it. I mean, it's 1979. You have Jimmy Carter was president. The economy was pretty much shit. People didn't think that Ronald Reagan, a former actor, would at all get elected president because they had the presidential elections of 1980, about a year after this movie premiered. So the economy was overall was shit. And a lot was happening. So, okay. So the overall premise of this movie, okay, like I said, you have these gangs, all right? Oh, well, there's another thing I wanted to go over, all right? Because apparently, all right, there were actually going to be a lot more gangs depicted in this film, all right? Because there's 21 depicted in the film. Basically, whether they had a major focus for whatever reason or they were just there, pretty much. But there were 21 gangs in the film, and the 21 street gangs in the film were the Warriors, obviously, the Gramercy Riffs, all right? That's the gang with the leader, Cyrus, who's trying to unite the gangs. The Rogues, that's the one that Luther is part of. We'll get into that. Turnbull ACs, the Orphans. The Orphans are the ones that are basically the They get the short end of the stick, pretty much, to the point where it's like they are so little thought of by other gangs that they weren't even invited to the summit, right? So there's a little scenario that happens with them, pretty much. But the Orphans are a gang, all right? The Baseball Furies. Yep. The Lizzies, which are equivalent to the Sirens, as like I mentioned, from the Odyssey. The Punks, the Boppers, the Hurricanes, the Hi-Hats. Now this is why, all right, the Warriors was originally intended to be more of kind of a fantasy-esque film. Originally intended to be more of a fantasy-esque film, hence the Hi-Hats. If you look at them going, I can't take this gang seriously, that's the reason why. It's because of that. Because I think there's a little bit of trivia on that. I want to see. There's a little bit of trivia right about that. At least I thought I did. Because there were some things that he originally wanted to do that I'm kind of glad that the studio stepped in and go, nah, fam. Yeah, don't do that. I know I read it. Okay. Well, I mean, Walter Hill originally wanted the Warriors to be an all-black gang. That's like, but producers disagreed. He also wanted an initial subtitle which read "Sometime in the Future," which have kind of led to more fantasy-esque aspect to it because you would have to make up what could possibly the future could be. But Paramount thought it sounded too much like Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope, so they put the kibosh on that and had it set present day, pretty much. But you still have the hi-hats. As part of the gangs, which kind of leads credence to that. It's like he was going to come up with gangs that were kind of like they like you wouldn't really see in the present, pretty much. So, hello, Riker. Yeah, pretty much. Got the car blown up. They were so scared they refused to confront the Warriors anymore. Yeah, they only really confronted them initially because the character Mercy called the leader pretty much chicken. Because originally the orphans were going to let the Warriors pass through, but he got called out by and the Mercy is a character that I thought that her character was serviceable. Her character was serviceable in my opinion, but you could have removed her character and it would not change anything from the plot. She didn't really add that much at all, in my opinion. I remember thinking, okay, sort of situation. I get the connection she has to Swan and things like that. That ultimately develops, but there's nothing much else to her. There's nothing really much else to her. Like, if you're going to add a character that's at least trying to break some type of some form of stereotype or something, I don't want to say it like this, but break gender rules or anything like that. Essentially, give me more to her character. But there was nothing there. You could have taken her out, and it would not change anything about the plot. It would not drastically change anything. But okay, after the hi-hats, the electric eliminators, the Saracens, the Jones Street Boys, the Savage Huns, the Satan's Mothers, the Boyle Avenue Runners, the Moon Runners, the Van Cortlandt Rangers, the Panzers, and the Gladiators. 21 gangs, right? Some were in it more than others, but 21 gangs in total. 21 gangs in total. Yeah, but it's like Swan could have had those thoughts by himself. She really did not need to be there. He could have, like I said, he could have had those thoughts himself. He could have been wrestling with those thoughts too. Given what happened during the summit, the obstacles he's facing trying to get back home. Is there more for me? Am I going to be relegated to this? Is there a better life out there for me? He could have been wrestling with all those thoughts himself. She really did not need to be there. So, again, it's not really something that's really not something intellectually drastic that he couldn't have come up with himself. But here are the other gangs that were listed in the official movie script, but either were unidentified on screen or not seen at all. All right? So there's, in alphabetical order, and there are a lot. The Alley Cats, the Amsterdam All-Stars, the Black Hands, the Blackjacks, the Big Trains, the Charlemagnes, the Colts 45s, the Dealers, the Delaney Rovers, the Dingoes, which were a homosexual gang and rivals of the Warriors, did play a part in the original script, right, but were ultimately cut. The E Street Shufflers, the Easy Aces, the 8th Avenue Apaches, the Fastballs, the 5th Street Bombers, the Fillmores, the Fire Tasters, the 5 Points, the Gerards, the Gohards, gang, the Gun Hill Dancers, the Homeboys, the Hoplites, the Howitzers, the High Rollers, the Hucks, the Imps, the Jesters, the Judas Bunch, the Jupiters, the Knockdowns, the Knuckles, the Locos, the Magicians, the Meat Packers, the Napoleons, the Nickel Steaks, the Night Riders, holy fuck, the Ninth Avenue Razors, the Phillies, the Plainsmen, the Queensbridge Mutilators, the Real Boys, the Red Hook Shooters, the Roadmasters, the Romans, the Runaways, the Saratogas, the Shanghai Sultans, the Southern Cross, the Speedwagons, the Stevedores, the Stilettos, the Stonebreakers, the Terriers, the Turks, the Whispers, the Wizards, the Xenophones, not Xenophones, not phobes, phones, the Youngbloods, the Yo-Yos, the Zodiacs, and finally, the Zulus. Yeah, they were either cut or just there. But those are all the gangs, right, on top of the 21 that had any impact at all on the plot. Whew! That's Maz's gang, by the way. I love the game kind of expanded on the gangs. I'm going to disagree with you there, and I'm a woman. I know my own sex. They can be the best motivators for men to do something different, but not all the time. Not all the time. And I'm a woman saying this. I'm a woman saying this. But like I said, you could have given all that to Swan and like had him give his character that much agency. Fine. Or like what did Trey say up here? Or maybe write her character differently, like she make her his girlfriend from the beginning of the film. Maybe like, show them having a conversation at the beginning of the film where she's going into this and that like, and he leaves and starts processing their conversation both to and from the summit, pretty much. So that way, it's like she still is going into wanting a better life, wanting to go away from the gangs because she thinks that they could have a better life together outside of the Warriors. And he mulls it over. You could have still had something like that, but she just appears. She just kind of appears to egg on the orphans, and then she doesn't say anything amazingly intellectual about that. So I get the conversation, but at the same time, it's like at that point is he could have been wrestling with that himself. So add more to that. Add more of a connection to their characters because again, she's just there at that point. And like Trey said, she becomes a tag along. That's all he really is. Just becomes a tag along. Yeah, there's a chemistry between her and Swan, but at the same time, it's like it's not a focus. It's really not a focus, so she's just there. And I know I'm keep repeating that, but that's just her character to me. That's like the one criticism I have for this movie is the Mercy character. And again, in today's age, I'm supposed to relate to her because I'm supposed to relate to every female fucking character in movies, but I can't. Like I said, like she could have been taken out and it would not have made any difference to the film. I don't think so, because like I said, part of the trivia was she was originally intended to be a love interest for one of the other warriors. The one who played Fox, whose character meets the fate of being thrown in front of a subway train by a cop. I don't think she was an afterthought, but her character comes off as an afterthought. Again, it's if you're going to give me a character like that, give a bit more substance. So that way we're like, okay, you can't take that character out because it's this critical. Boom. Oh, shut up, Dan. But anyway, the overall premise of the movie, all right? Okay, the Warriors. The Warriors are the gang that we are focused on primarily. They are the gang that are invited to the summit, and the summit being held by the Gramercy Rifts, a powerful gang in New York, and their leader, all right, Cyrus, has called all these gangs, with the exception of the orphans, because again, they're looked down upon, but all these gangs to the summit and said, look, we outnumber the cops. We could run this city. So why are we so focused on killing each other when we can unite and turn our attention completely on the cops and take over New York City. Pretty much the gist of the summit. Very theatrical. Very theatrical. All right, so I wish I could play the arrival of the gangs because they really, again, like there's like something about them, like these ones right here. All right, like I love how there's a little bit of theatricalness to how the gangs look, but at the same time, it's like it makes them so distinct, so unique that they don't come like they all look the same and like, okay, yeah, whatever, okay, but it gives it a little distinctness to the gangs. We're like, okay, I can see that gang there, and you can pick them out, which I appreciated. And like Trey said, you can still take them seriously to an extent. Maybe not the hi hats because they have like mime makeup on and top hats. All right, I can't really take them seriously. I'm sorry, but for the most part, the gangs, you can still take them seriously. They are distinct and they are believable. They are still have an air of believability to them, which is what I appreciate about this film. All right, and again, the original book was written as a counter to how the gangs were romanticized in West Side Story. That was the original, and that was the original intent behind the book. Yeah, the rolling skate gang, I can't take them seriously either. But, and here's a but to that, I can take them more seriously than I fucking can the two gangs in West Side Story, because, like I said, I cannot take seriously gang members who break out into pirouettes and jazz hands. You do that, I do not take you fucking seriously at all. And I'm supposed to take you seriously because you're fucking street gangs. I can't. That's why I don't watch West Side Story, because of that. Take out the musical numbers, it would be the perfect modern adaptation. Not the movie itself, but like the premise, would be the perfect modern adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. Where you have rival street gangs in place of rival families. Boom! It writes itself. But it was a musical. So it doesn't work for me. But anyway, that was the original intention behind this movie. So. And for some reason, StreamYard's just gronked on me, and the chat is not updating. This is the last message I see. So I have to look over on YouTube side, and I can't refresh StreamYards, because if I do that, I get kicked out. So I have to pay attention to the chat on the other screen because of that. Fucking hell, StreamYards. I pay a certain amount a month to be able to use video clips and stream as much as I do, and you're still shit. You started out with promise, and you're just fucking failing at every turn. But anyway, I'm going to try to keep up with the chat as much as possible. Alright, but I have to look over on the other monitor. But anyway. Okay, so, again, called a summit. I'm going to try to get a shot of Cyrus. I wish I could get a good shot. Yeah, this is Cyrus. Again, I know I keep dropping the word theatrical, but again, I believe I understand the whole theatricalness to it, because you have to bring these gangs together. You have to draw their attention. You have to kind of get them on your side. And to do so, you have to be like this. Like, can you dig it? I say the future is ours. Like, he's riling them up. He's trying to rile them up because he wants them to unite. You're trying to unite not only the 21 gangs that feature prominently or relatively prominently in this movie, but yeah, you had all the other ones that I fucking listed. That's a lot. All right, to his credit, that's a lot. Yeah, James Remar, which is, again, he plays the character Ajax. All right, he was a breakout actor for this movie, and all right, James Remar, if you did not at all watch the breakdown of Aliens, all right, he was actually originally cast for the role of Hicks. But because he got busted for substance, all right, drugs, and because of that, he had to be removed from the production, and Michael Biehn subsequently cast as Hicks, all right, you can like this is his breakout role. And like again, like I love also like within the Warriors themselves, they have different personalities. Like they don't always agree, right? They don't always agree. And at some point, and like in some cases, even the personalities clash. Because Ajax, James Remar has been brought up, for example. He's kind of like the, how do I put this? He's the brash one. He's the one that wants to start swinging first before talking. Pretty much, he's kind of like I get it. When I say he's the bad boy of the group, yeah, they're the Warriors, they're a gang. I get that, but his personality is he's kind of the tough one. Right, so he's kind of the tough one. Yeah, the hothead, pretty much. Yeah, thank you, Trey. He's kind of the hothead. All right, and then you have Swan, who's the second in command, so he has to be more level-headed in his approach because he's not only looking after himself, he has to look after the other members of the gang. You have Vermin, the other Snow, Cochise. Cleon is the actual leader of the Warriors, who is killed at the summit. Cowboy, Rembrandt. All right, so he has to watch out for the other members, pretty much. So you have that little butting of heads personalities, which again I appreciate. I would rather that than them acting the same just because they're in the same gang, pretty much. Like there are enough differences that I can believe that they would both be part, like they would all be part of the same gang, but at the same time still have like distinct personalities to them, which I again love. All right, but this is again Cyrus. All right, so he's trying to unite the gangs. All right, so this is really where the overall premise of the movie is. Pretty much, the movie itself, the premise is simple. Again, I do not say this as a bad thing because keep it simple, stupid, works. All right, keep it simple, stupid works. All right. Don't try to be anything that you're not. Okay, this is a movie about a gang trying to get home. That's it, just about, in a nutshell. All right, there's different facets to it, but that is, in a nutshell, what this gang is trying to do. So maybe, we don't know, because there were some scenes shot that Raymar did that are still in Aliens. Some of the shots from the back of Hicks are Remar, not Michael Biehn. I don't. Maybe he would have been too rough and tumble. Maybe not. I don't know. He's shown that he has some range as an actor, so who knows what he would have been like. But right. So, and the Warriors. So you have this one gang there called the Rogues, who really do not want to at all partake in what Cyrus is offering. Right, and I say that very loosely because Luther shoots Cyrus. Right? Yes, Trey. They want. I wish I could highlight these comments. They want to continue the beef. They do not want to unite. They kind of thrive on the rivalry between the gangs. Like they don't want any peace amongst all the gangs. Right? Avatars, yeah, you can't remake this movie these days. Too many people are wimps. Yeah, like they're again, like too many people are wimps. You have the fucking socio-political agendas. You'd have like identity politics permeating this film and so forth. Pick anything that you would not be able to remake this movie nowadays for a multitude of reasons, and that's because of a lot of shit that's happening within certain spheres of demographics and political leanings. So they kill Cyrus and frame the Warriors. Right? And in the confusion, because the cops are there as well, and they're raiding the summit, right? So you have like the chaos with the cops coming after the gangs, the chaos from the shot that rings out and then kills Cyrus, and the accusation that like Luther lobs, the Warriors did it. I saw it, shit like that. the Warriors have no idea what's happening. Justice for Cleon, yes, and Cleon, leader from the Warriors, is killed as a result. Right? Because again, these are gangs. Like they're not exactly going to step back and reassess the situation. All right, so he's killed during this. The Black Gang and the Warriors is the biggest gang in the entire movie. That originally, I went into some trivia avatars, and originally the Hill wanted the Warriors to be all black, but that was kind of nixed by Paramount. Which I think basically having a mix actually works better than having like an all one skin color gang, pretty much. One gang can be the Transformers, yeah. I can't highlight your comment, Gigawatt. I see you in the chat, but StreamYards became munted for me. This is the last comment I see, and this is like a while back. So I cannot highlight any comments, and I can't refresh StreamYard side because I'll kick myself out. Okay. And again, the Warriors, they don't know that they've been accused. They don't know they've been accused. So really, it's like one of those words. They just want to get home. They just want to get home. So their assumption is like these gangs are just coming after them because of reasons, because they're rival gangs. They have no idea that they've been accused of killing Cyrus, the leader of the Gramercy Riffs, one of the most powerful gangs in the city. We're just getting Uber home, yeah, pretty much. Everybody trying to cancel the Warriors on Twitter, yeah, pretty much. Which again, another thing, like not trivia, but rewatching the movie, the DJ sounded familiar to me. Did y'all ever watch Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Did y'all ever watch that show? I'm a nerd, so I did. She was the chief. The DJ in this movie is the chief on Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. So, look up if you can find clips of it, like the chief. That's that actress, Lynn Thigpen. So she's listening here as the DJ, and I know her from Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. That's where I learned geography pretty fucking much. Oh yeah, John McFord totally got the DJ thing from this movie. Totally got this. Hey, Susie Ronan. Yeah, I know she's in a bunch of stuff. I just like, I was listening to her voice going, damn, she sounds really fucking familiar. She was the chief on Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. Because that was like part of my childhood, pretty much. I again learned geography from that show. So really, and okay, and like that is the simplicity again, beautiful simplicity of this movie. Is the Warriors just want to get home? They have no idea for most of the film. They have no idea why these gangs are coming after them. They have no idea why they're coming after them. They don't know that they've been accused of killing Cyrus. They know that Cyrus has been shot. That's all they fucking know, and they've just want to get home. They just want to catch the train and go home. That's all they want to do. Beautiful simplicity. And Luther, and I love how during the movie, like Luther's is like continuously going a bit more insane each time you see him, because the actor, his name is David Patrick Kelly. I love his performance pretty much. The character Luther was hoping to basically kill two birds with one stone, pretty much, in a sense. Get away with murder by pointing the finger at a rival gang, have that rival gang killed by other gangs, so there's no one that could point the finger at him or proclaim their innocence, and he'd get away with murder, pretty much. So he's like, and you have the DJ going, oh, this gang tried, oh, this gang, and he's going insane because he essentially needs the Warriors to die because he doesn't want anything remote at all to point back at him. He's going and he goes insane. he goes insane, but at the same time, it's like there's still a menace to him. There's still a menace to him. Like it's again like there's a little bit of histrionics, exaggeration to his character, but at the same time, there's like a subtle menace to him that you really like. You like one little thing, like he threw money at a clerk. Why? Clerk didn't do anything wrong, but he's insane. But when I say he's insane, Luther is insane. So I would figure word of mouth, pretty much. Like the DJ wasn't watching them, but like word of mouth, pretty much. All right, pretty much. Yeah, because the Riffs are the ones that called the hit essentially, so they were like behind the scenes, word of mouth, pretty much. So like, Lizzie's failed, these guys failed, situation kind of thing. And I can't highlight your super chats, Winky, but come out to play. Thank you. Like the links, I have the clip, which I'll play again. That scene, pretty much. So I'm gonna see if I can get a shot of the Warriors. A good shot of the Warriors. I wish I could see. Wish I could see. So that's Ajax on the right. That's Cowboy on the left. So look at like all these gangs. Like there was only really like 200 to 300 people, but the way the camera shots, it looks like there's a lot more there. I appreciate that. Can you count, suckers? Yeah. And they were like the gangs were ready for the most part. We're ready to go with his plan. 60,000 soldiers. Like he's pretty much saying that we outnumber the cops. Trying to get on. Might have to scroll back. I want to get a shot of all the. Here's the Warriors. Lutheran Gaines or Gantz, whatever his name is, was in 48 hours. Now he's been in like, and Sieg said that the actor who plays Luther was also in Twin Peaks. So trying to get. Oh. So I know, like here again, one of the Warriors sees what happens. One of the Warriors actually did kind of see what happened. Again, but did not know that they were accused. And I love how Luther doesn't realize that there was someone else who saw what happened. Which I love, again. Yeah, he looks like he did it. Which is why it was easy for him to point, they did it! They did it! Which I appreciate. There you go. That right there. I'm going to take that back. Because this right here, that's Luther. I wish I could play. Because that guy just, his face alone. And I see it's such a weasel. Such a weasel, but at the same time, you did not want to mess with him. He played that part so well. Yeah, I pointed it out, Tara Crystal, how amazing how each gang had their own looks and personalities. That's what I was saying, where it's like, there are a couple, like one or two gangs I can't really take seriously. Like the hi-hats, for example, they have the mime makeup on and they're wearing top house hats. I can't really take them seriously, but I do very much appreciate the fact that each gang is so distinct from one another that you could point out, oh, that's that gang, that's that gang, that's that gang. Like, they are their own group. Nowadays, it's like you point out, now it's car chases and explosions, and they all look alike pretty much. They all sound alike, they look alike, and there's like nothing to them pretty much. But here, you could definitely get a feel for the different gangs in New York, pretty much. Because this is basically the dredges of society in New York City in 1979. And he played that part so well. Right? Yeah, and Sidney Runs as a true psycho. Really, it just his looks alone. Again, it's like that look where it's like you get his order wrong at McDonald's and he'll shank you across the counter, pretty much. Yeah, see? And that's Fox. Again, a bit of trivia. He was actually very difficult to work with. He and director Walter Hill clashed a lot during the 8 weeks production, pretty much. So it got to a point where the reason why his character died the way he did is because of them butting heads, like him being so difficult to work with, that like his character was basically not thrown, but during a scuffle, got thrown in front of a oncoming train car, pretty much. So that's a way to remove that actor pretty much from the production, not have to deal with them by killing off the character. Right? And Hill has said that he actually regrets doing that. But if I were Hill, like as I said earlier in the stream, I wouldn't regret really anything, because not only was this actor apparently very difficult to work with, like a pain in the ass, but he actually demanded his name be removed from the final credits. Like if you go on IMDb, his name's not even listed because he demanded that his name be removed from the credits. And when that happened, I've been like, okay, fuck you. I don't regret this. Right? Yeah, Trey, that's a dick move. This is very much a dick move. But that's the reason why his character goes out the way he does. Because it's a brutal way to do it, and it works for the movie. But at the same time, the reason why behind it is like purely within his control, and he didn't change. And Hill was like, okay, I can't fucking deal with this. A few of the actors didn't have a great time. The actor that played Cleon kind of got written out too. They only had 8-week contracts, but the production ran much longer and they didn't renegotiate. Yeah, unfortunately, studios aren't much better nowadays, but back then it was it was like if you didn't renegotiate or if you didn't have a good agent or anything like that, you were pretty much screwed. Like a lot, there are plenty of instances and examples of actors and actresses getting screwed over pay because of shit like that. So, but yeah, Fox witnesses, which allows Luther to be able to point the finger at the Warriors. So he takes full advantage of that. So that way the tension from the Gramercy rifts is directed right at the Warriors. And Luther, and it's going to come into play later on, does not realize that another gang member, when I say another gang member, I mean another gang, right? A member of another gang also witnessed it. But because of the mayhem and craziness ensuing from not only the murder of Cyrus, but also the police coming and raiding the summit and arresting and going after gang members that can't come forward easily. So for the most of the movie, thank you, Shield Wall. So for most of the movie, again, it's the Warriors not realizing at all why these gangs are coming after them, and they just want to get home. Again, I know it's not based on the Odyssey, but it has similar beats to the Odyssey. Which again, Odysseus just wanted to get home. That's all he wanted to do. The warriors just want to get home. That's all he wanted to do. And at every turn, and at every there's an obstacle. One way or another, there's an obstacle to them returning home. Ajax is funny as hell in a way because, again, completely in his control, and he thought with his dick instead of his head. Well, let's put it this way: he thought with the wrong head. So, but we'll get into that. But Fox is outside of Cleon is the only one that dies. Vermin was actually supposed to originally die as well. But because he played his character a bit on the comical side, a bit on the funny side, and made his character memorable, that was changed. So originally Vermin was going to die as well, but that was scrapped, and ultimately his character survives to the end of the movie. So no, but they are better than the gangs from West Side Story, which is the reason the original book was written in the first place. So the revolver that the rogue's gang leader Luther uses to assassinate Cyrus is a Smith & Wesson Model 28 357 Magnum. Whoo, that's a power. That has a kick. That has a kick. All right. So those are the actors like in the scene. Yeah, Vermin here, played by Terry Mitchos. Again, he was originally supposed to die in the original script, but was ultimately kept alive because of his performance. So I wish I had taken timestamps down because I'd like. So these are the Gramercy riffs. All right, so they are the ones that put out the contract, which is. John Wick very much took this concept from this movie. All right, so if you have not seen, well, I should say John Wick 4, took this concept from this movie, where a contract is put out, and you have a DJ kind of calling out the play-by-play, essentially. Like, oh, John Wick's still alive, he survived there, and he's made his way here. This is where you gotta go. Oh, he survived here. Like, exactly what the DJ does in here, essentially, pretty much. Yeah, I'm saying you get hit by a 357 Magnum. All right, yeah, it's a handgun, but holy shit, does it have a kick to it, and power. So when he got shot, he was yeeted. So that's pretty fucking accurate. That's pretty fucking accurate. John McForr straight up the Warriors at the end of the film, and I loved it. Yeah. It was really cool concept of having the DJ comment on what was going on. Yeah. And that DJ, again, is played by Lynn Thigpen, and she played the chief on Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, which is pretty much my childhood. So basically, she's in a movie that I love and a show that I liked as a kid. So completely different characters. But I recognized her voice, and I was like, she sounds really fucking familiar. So yeah. So I'm just going to see what shots I stop on, because again, all right. General trivia. I love like showing this through Amazon because you get the trivia. Real street gangs appear in the film. And like, part of the trivia that I mentioned earlier is that they actually hired a real gang to protect their film vans, right? And paid them. And this is like 1978, 1979 dollars, pretty much. So, pretty good chunk of change. $500 a day. It was a real gang called the Mongrels, and they were hired to protect the film vans. They were paid $500 a day. And you had a film that lasted at least 8 weeks of production. So that's $3,500 a week times 8. Nice bit of change that this real gang got literally hired as protection. Literally hired as protection. Gotta love it, right? Gotta love it. But anyway. So. Warrior's vests were made of fake leather. And the soundtrack, too. The soundtrack is just also incredible. Yeah, there's the actress, Lynn Thigpen. All right, like I said, like she played the chief on Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. I'm trying to get a shot of Mercy. Okay. Oh, I love this scene. I love the scene where they're being chased. They're being chased by the Turnbulls. Basically, the Turnbulls basically have a fucking school bus. It's a fucking school bus, and they're patrolling the streets, and then the Warriors are trying to sneak past them. And so, but it fails again. They run into obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, and they're being chased by the Turnbulls. So, I play this just a little bit. So, it reminds me of something out of like a Mad Max movie in a sense. I get that. I get that feeling like whenever when the Turnbull the scene is happening and how the Turnbulls look and what they're using and so forth. It very much feels like Mad Max, in a sense. The same director made Streets of Fire. If you haven't seen that one, I think you'd love it. I'm trying to think if I have or not. Again, I wish I could highlight these comments, but StreamYard's got munted on me. So, because right here, it's stuck at 15 watching, and I see the actual number on the YouTube side. But again, like comes across as like a Mad Max feel to it. Let's see. Yeah, look at not saying that like Mad Max, like it was intended that way or anything like that. But I'm just like looking at these guys and like you could take them from this movie and put them in a Mad Max movie, and it would work. And again, Winky wants me to come out to play. It's night. I can't play. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna go to sleep after this. I'm not gonna play. That's what I'm saying. Like, you could remove this. That's what I love about, again, goes to the distinctness of each of the gangs. Like, you could, they don't feel the same. They don't feel the same. Yeah, Traces, all you have to do is add a weapon to this, and you could take this, transplant this from the Warriors into Mad Max, or a Mad Max, basically that world, and it would work. You would believe, it works. Yeah, the Mad Max was the same year. So I'm not saying that they were it was intended for them to have that feel to it, but that's the feel I get from this gang in this scene. It's very Mad Max in nature. Yeah, I agree with Take 2. Escape from New York. They would fit there as well. They would fit there as well. So. Go to bed. Yeah, I'm going to go to bed. I didn't expect Lethal to go as long as he did. Playing ranked Warzone. It's only starting to get warmer, Winky. Thank you for the other $2 super chat. Actually, the actor who plays Swan, Michael Beck, was in a movie with Sigourney Weaver pre-Alien. And the director originally went to go see... see the movie primarily because of the fact that Sigourney Weaver was being considered for Alien. And when the director watched the movie, he was impressed by Beck's performance, and that's how Beck pretty much got the role for a Swan in this movie. Yeah, so that's how, fur bikini, haha. The end of civilization was one nuke away back then, yeah. So, But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's how Michael Beck got the role for Swan, and it's pretty much because the director originally went to go see a movie to see Sigourney. Like, then how is it described? How is she described? Where is it? Less famous Sigourney Weaver. Like, he originally went to go see it because Michael Beck co-starred with her in the movie Mad Men, which came out a year before The Warriors did, and Hill was impressed with Beck's performance. Now he signed Beck on as Swan in The Warriors. So, and I'm trying to see if I can get shots of other gangs. Nobody can read these maps. That's actually not changed at all for New York. That's actually not changed at all for New York. I literally stopped on this line and I'm like, I visited New York back in 2008 when I was going through pre-deployment training. Well, not pre-deployment training, but I had to go through training as part of my career in Jersey, and I went with the group into New York, and I'm like, yeah, it has not fucking changed at all since in the late 1970s. Like, nobody can read those fucking maps. Oh, shut up, Dan. No, they're the confusing as fuck. So anyway, but all they want to do is catch the train. Oh, I love this where he's like, this guy, Cyrus, had an accident. He is just so... I love Luther in this movie. I absolutely love the character Luther in this movie. Trying to get shots. Oh, here are the orphans. Okay. This is where Mercy comes in. Again, I still say you could remove her character and it would not change much of anything at all from the film, pretty much. Or at the very least, as Trey suggested, have her character be shown at the beginning. She's already Swan's girlfriend. They're having a conversation about is there something better out there for us? Like, do we have to stay with this gang sort of scenario? Which is something that he could mull over in his head throughout the entire film, pretty much. Is there anything better? Am I kind of relegated to be part of this gang for the rest of my life, sort of a situation? She could have had that conversation with them, but she seems kind of just thrown in. I'm not saying she was necessarily a last-minute addition. I think she was originally, part of the original script, or at least part of the original planning and so forth. But she feels tacked on. She feels tacked on to me. I'm not buying. I don't really buy her character, and I would like to because she could have been an influence from the beginning on Swan. So you could still have her be an influence on him, but give him a little bit of agency where he's coming up with this on his own, where it's wanting something better out of life, not just being part of a street gang. So I get that reason for her being there, but at the same time, it's it's really nothing drastic in that. Yeah, so the orphans, all right, so they're walking through, the warriors are forced to walk through the orphans' territory, and the orphans are very much looked down upon by every gang in New York City. Like I said, they weren't even invited to the summit. All right? So they're pretty much the bastard children of gangs. All right? They are ignored. All right? Mercy was pretty much useless. Swan sent her home on the train the next day after he got aboard. That's what I'm saying. Hey, Christopher Bassett. That's what I'm saying. It's you could have removed her from the movie and it would not have made a difference really at all. But she could have been a crucial character, or at least kind of critical to Swan's development if she had been shown in the movie kind of from the get-go. All right, but she doesn't feel necessary. Once she's enters, which she enters in the scene pretty much, and she eggs on the leader of the orphans pretty much by calling him chicken after the orphans were going to let the warriors pass through. So she's an instigator. She's a fucking she. This is like, again, also the disconnect with this character is she is an instigator. She eggs on the leader of the orphans when the it's like, oh, you chicken. Like, she calls him like the leader chicken because he's like, again, going to let the warriors walk through their territory. But then she wants a better life. Like, bitch, please. What do you want? Do you want like there's like a kind of a bipolarness to her character initially when you come across her because she does that shit. I'm like, you want a better life? How about maybe not egg on gang members to fight each other? How about that? It was also in Crocodile Dundee. Yeah. And I'm sorry, like I'm streaming through StreamYard, and StreamYard became incredibly munted for me, so I cannot highlight your messages. So if I miss anything, I do apologize because I have to look over on the other monitor. But anyway, so it's the redheaded stepchild, right? Hey, Dead Punk Gage. She was way too annoying as a character who doesn't really have any story progression. That's, again, like I said, I wish I wasn't beating a dead horse in this regard, but again, you could remove her character and it would not at all really alter the story. It would not alter it at all, really. Like, there are characters where you watch movies and you think, as annoying as the character is, they do have a purpose. Like, if you were to remove that character, regardless of whether they are primary, secondary, or whatever characters, and it changes things, then again, they have a critical role, regardless of what, like, whether it's primary role, secondary role, even a tertiary role, right? To an extent, for the most part, up until we really see him, Gollum has more of a tertiary role in the Lord of the Rings, right? Books and films, pretty much. But you remove him, right? You remove Gollum from the scenario, and it drastically changes things, right? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how important the character is to have an impact. And she could have had an impact on the plot, and she has nothing. She adds nothing other than for you, like Liquid Blake in the chat, who likes to look at her boobs, like, wearing her pink shirts. Pretty much. That's my, again, I'm saying this as a woman. I'm saying this as a woman that I do not need women in every damn role. All right? I do not need it. One of my favorite war movies, all right, is Heartbreak Ridge. I love that movie. I fucking hate the secondary story with the ex-wife. I fucking hate that. But anyway, the character is Mercy, right? The character is Mercy, played by Deborah Van Valkenburg. All right. She looked familiar when I rewatched the movie, but I don't recognize anything that she's been in, so she might remind me of another actress. So yeah. So he's like trying to seem threatening, but they're gonna let them go. And this is Mercy right here. This is Mercy. Paul Greco's character, the orphan leader, isn't given a name in the film, and other media frequently refer to the character simply as Orphan or Orphan Leader. However, his character's actual name, Sully, was revealed in the Warriors video game. So this is Mercy. This is what Liquid Blake likes to look at. All right. And there's a part in the movie, this is a little bit of trivia. But the part in the movie where she's walking around and she's wearing Swan's jackets. That's because she actually broke her wrist. Let me see. Or arm. When she's running with Fox. Or Fox's double. It says, in the subway where Mercy is running with Fox's double, she fell and broke her wrist because the actor didn't let go of her hand. This is why she later appears in a jacket as it is covering up the cast. Right? The filmmakers had Mercy disappear from the film for a while, meeting up with the warriors at the subway platform and saying that she stole the jacket she was wearing before arriving there. So that's why she's wearing a jacket later on in the film, is because she's covering up the cast from breaking her wrist. So, no. So, no, I mean, like, when I say that, I mean, like, I thought, like, she reminded me, I thought I'd seen her in something else as, like, her as a younger actress. Like, how she looks here, but I think she just reminds me of another actress. Didn't watch Too Close for Comfort. Didn't watch that sitcom. So I don't know the sitcom at all. But she's a shit stirrer in this scene. So that's why I'm saying, like, there's a disconnect with her character. Because she wants a better life. She talks about having a better life with Swan later on in the movie, but here she's egging on the leader of the orphans. Like, she's like, you saw that cluck 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 on the screen, and she's like, like calling him chicken for not confronting the warriors, for actually just letting them go through his territory. So I'm like, so what is it? Like, what do you want? I'm like looking at this character going, what do you want? Because I can't, like, you do one thing and then you say another. Pretty much. Like, if she really wanted a better life, she would have taken that scenario and actually taken it as inspiration that, hey, maybe gangs don't have to kill each other every fucking time they see each other. Maybe they don't have to fight every time they cut their paths cross. Right? If she really believed in that, if she really fucking believed in that, this would have been, like I said, an epiphany moment. Hey, we don't have to kill each other every time we see each other. That, like, gangs can actually not work together, but at least, at the very least, all right, at the very least, like, at least have some level of respect for the other gang, that they just let them go through their territory. Still have control of the territory, but I'm like, no, Blake, no dance off. I want to talk about the Ajax character. I'm trying to find the Ajax character, because we already talked about Fox and the reason why Fox died. But Ajax, oh, this is where I think he meets his end. Yeah, he meets his end there. This is Ajax. This is James Remar's character. All right, so Fox, Cleon is killed, and Fox is the only other one that dies for the Warriors. Okay, I've already gone into why his character died. His character likely would have survived to the end, because for the most part, with the exception of Ajax's character, get home hours later, but ultimately get home. Ajax is the hothead of the group, and again has distinct enough personalities where it's like, okay, they don't feel like I don't feel like I'm watching the same gang member on screen. Right? There's like different distinctions amongst each character, even within the Warriors gang, that they stand out. Each one stands out for different reasons. Ajax being one of them, pretty much, because he's the hothead. He's the one that basically fights first, talks later, sort of a situation. He he's like all for like these gangs are coming after us. Like, let's stand our ground, fight, sort of situation. All right, and he also thinks with the wrong head in another way, because, which I find funny. All right, he actually hits on this woman he sees sitting on a park bench, and she ends up being an undercover cop. He has the face of a guy who expects to be a hothead. Yeah, it works, right? And I think Raymar has shown range as an actor, but yeah, his face works. Like, you believe him as the hothead of the group, all right? And yeah, he hits on a woman who's sitting on a park bench. Would have done worse, all right? Because the implication was there that he was going to force himself on her, all right? And it ends up being that she's an undercover cop, and she handcuffs him to the park bench. Yeah, and he's still trying to get at her. He's still trying to get at her. He's handcuffed to the park bench, and he's still trying to get at her. Oh yeah, I mentioned that, Gigawatt. Yeah, he was originally cast as Hicks in Aliens, but because he was busted for drugs, that's when Michael Biehn was brought in. But he's still technically in Aliens because there's some shots that he filmed prior to being let go, where he's in the shot and it's not Michael Biehn, but it's from the back, so it works. So I'm trying to. Oh, these are the baseball Furies. So they're. Again, there's no way that you could all mix these ones up with any other gang. The Furies. Ajax likely got killed in jail because there was probably lots of other gang members arrested that night who got worried that the Warriors waste. Probably. I'm saying, like, we don't see his death. So all we know for sure is that he was arrested. But chances are, yeah, I can see that he would have likely been killed in jail because of that scenario. Because I can see that. It's not directly stated, so the implication is that he survives, but that is a very high possibility because of what went down. And the fact that the Gramercy Rifts basically put a hit out on the Warriors. So that's the reason why all these gangs are coming after the Warriors. Right, to exact revenge, or at least what they think is revenge, on the gang that killed Cyrus. All right. Not really. I'd say more than a night. I would say more than a night, even in 70s jail, because like to get. They would have had enough to hold him for at least a couple days, but most likely he could have gotten out. I would say a bit more than a night, just because of what he tried to do, and the fact that it was an undercover cop that he did it to, and witnesses. I would say a bit more than a night, if he survives. If he survived. A friend of mine worked with the guy who was the head of the Baseball Furies, the tall Howard Stern looking dude. Yeah. All right, that's cool. Okay, these are the Baseball Furies. Trying to get to the Lizzies. Oh, yeah. Like, Ajax's line, I'll shove that bat up your ass and turn you into a popsicle, is ranked number 12 on UGO's top 50 tough guy lines and on the top 50 greatest baseball lines ever. That's a little bit of trivia for you. I'll shove that bat up your ass and turn you into a popsicle. And the fight between the Warriors and the Baseball Furies was scripted as extremely graphic and realistic. Producer Lawrence Gordon suggested adding music to diffuse the impact of the violence. All right. When Ajax and Cowboy are running from the Baseball Furies, you can see several times that James Remar reaches over and slaps Tom Kittrick on the butt. He does this to coax him into running faster. I want to play that just for that reason alone. Several times, James Remar reaches out and slaps Tom McKittrick on the butt to get him to run faster. Right, one of the Baseball Furies was the late martial artist actor Steve James. There you go. There, Jerry Hewitt, Baseball Fury in this. McKittrick played Cowboy. So, let me see if I can maybe play it. Let me see if I can get to that point. So they're fighting. Let me see. Okay, this is Vermin, Cochise, and Rembrandt. Rembrandt, the original Begone Thought, when they encountered the Lizzies. me see if I can go back. Oh my. Yeah, this is pretty violent. I mean, without the music, probably would have been a bit more violent. Anyway, watch the movie again, see if you can spot how many times he actually slaps the guy's butt. Alright, so that's the DJ. So, I didn't mention that the gang the Warriors has split up pretty much. The Warriors has ended up splitting up because of what's been going down pretty much. The lady on the bench on the first cop out of the car knocked him out. He wasn't getting out for a while. Yeah, I'm saying, like, he did enough that he would not be getting out after just one night, pretty much. So they've split up. You have Cochise on the left, Vermin in the middle, and Rembrandt on the right. Rembrandt looks like he's the youngest in the group, or at least this group that's gone to the summit. And he's the original Begone thought, because they are enticed, I should say Cochise and Vermin are enticed by the Lizzies, which are, in my opinion, equivalent to sirens from mythology, because they basically lure Cochise and Vermin in for a good time, much like the sirens do in mythology. See? Right here in the big city, there are the Lizzies. Okay? The movie features a large number of wipes, which are old-fashioned editing style transitions between scenes. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's a trap. They're literally lying in wait for them, which is what I love, pretty much. And again, Rembrandt is Rembrandt is the one that's like, we have to go. We can't stay here. We have to get here. We have to leave. We're trying to get home. Like, he's not falling for anyone in the Lizzies. Cochise and Vermin are all about thinking with the wrong head at this point, and they nearly die as a result, because that's why I call the Lizzies the sirens. Right? Yeah, thirst trap, pretty much. Literally a thirst trap. Which works, if you think about it. Which works. They are a gang. The Lizzies are a gang. They're one of the gangs having any prominence in the movie. Alright? Any prominence in the movie. They use, like, this would be unheard of nowadays, because, like, God fucking forbid a woman do this. But they use their femininity and sexualities to lure the men in. So they're not seen as a threat, which works in their favor, because they're able to get guys close to them as a result. Which one? There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the which one? Because I see Shield was I want to see Mara do her hair like that. They would be blue hairs now, yeah, with shaved sides on their heads, pretty much. That's what they would be, because they use their femininity, their womanhood, to their advantage. It works. It works. The middle one, all right. No. And they realize almost too late that these women are going to kill them. Pretty much. Yeah, they did it all for the nookie, pretty much. So. Yeah, guys, we ain't got time. That's Rembrandt talking. But Cochise and Vermin are... Nah. Yeah. So he's the youngest. And here's the scene where Ajax thinks with the wrong head. All right. Mercedes Ruel plays policewoman. I love how it's like she's sitting on a random bench late at night. Again, like, think about this. All right, that's why you need to use the right head. Think about this: a woman sitting on a bench late at night, no one else around. She's just sitting there. What could it possibly be? A woman alone at night in New York City with all this shit going down. What could it possibly fucking be? I'm like, it's like literally, it literally is. The writing is on the wall. There's a quote from the late great Robin Williams that God gave man both a brain and a penis, but only enough blood to run one at a time. And this is the scenario right here. And God gave man a brain and a dick, but only enough blood to run one at a time. Hey, Greg, and this is that scenario. So, Swan's trying to get them home. Again, the hothead, pretty much. The second in command of the Rifts, who takes over when Cyrus is killed, is named Masai. The name is not used in the film, however, it does appear in the credits. Right, so Ajax even calls Swan Warlord. So I want to get to the part where she handcuffs him to the bench. So they go back to get Ajax, and I want to play this a little bit. They come across the scenario after this. Right, so he's, the intention there is he's not going to do anything good, and he's how she handcuffs him, and he has a nerve to act surprised. Yeah, he's actually shocked. Again, has a nerve to act surprised. Again, a woman, woman, alone, middle of nowhere in this park, random park bench, at night. What could the scenario possibly be? It's the writing was there, but he thought was the wrong head, and come on, lady. She says you're under arrest. He's like, come on, lady. Seems legit, yeah. So that's what Dexter's dad did before he became a cop. Yeah, pretty much. Yes, that sounds normal. This was the late 70s version of Tinder. Yeah. He still goes after her. It says Tony Danza was offered the lead, but he chose to film the television series Taxi instead. This is the American film debut of American actress Mercedes Ruehl, who plays a policewoman. However, the movie was actually the second feature film for Ruehl, who previous picture had been the Brazilian movie Dona Flor and Her Two Husbands. All right. So I love he's trying to get off the park bench. Right. He still goes after the cops. He still takes a swing at them. And he punches one out. You gotta love his character. He goes out fighting. He was going to commit a very heinous crime, but he goes out fighting. Cops there in 2 seconds. Oh my god, I gasp. What could possibly go wrong? He goes out swinging, so you gotta hand it to him. He actually punches one of the cops. But yeah, he's not getting out. Yeah, he's getting more than one night. Like I said, he's getting more than one night in the slammer if he survives. If he survives the slammer and doesn't get killed by any rival gang member in there, he's getting more than one night. They have enough to hold him. So Ajax is now arrested. And I think these two see oh shit. I think, yeah, the only one. Yeah, there's no way they can help him. Cops has also been a bunch of B movies. I believe it. I wish this would show like. So again, back to the Lizzies. I want to get to the part where they realize this has been a trap. Oh, this is. Yeah, I want to get past Mercy. Wait, I love this. This is when like Rembrandt's like, oh shit. This is when they realize when she drops that line. She drops that line. Like, you're the famous warriors, right? The guys that shot Cyrus. Shit, the chicks are packed. I love that. Like immediately, it's like just clicks. At least survived until morning, and then when word got out that the warriors were innocent, but he's still screwed. He's still screwed, pretty much. But I love like I love Rembrandt's line. The chicks are packed. The chicks are packed. It's like danger, danger, Will Robinson. Pretty much. Now the shit has hit the. Now the shit starts hitting the fan. Holy shit! This has been a trap all along. The blood. Well, see, Rembrandt was actually his. The blood was in his brain. The blood was in his brain because he was not having it with these girls. Like he wasn't partaking in anything. He wanted to get out of there. He wanted to get home. Right? He was the sane one in this the group. All right, of the warriors. It was Rembrandt. All right, Cochise, and Vermin. Okay, Cochise and Vermin are thinking with the wrong head. All right, the blood ran south. All right, for Rembrandt, the blood stayed up north. So the blood is going back to the actual brains for Cochise and Vermin. Has a new meaning? Yeah, pretty much. Chicks are packed, yeah, pretty much. So realize, oh my god, oh shit. Guns. Like, they actually, like, oh my god, I love this. Like, they, like, literally fighting. Oh, yeah, like, I love how Vermin actually punches one. One gets whacked with the chair. Like, I love this scene. This is gender equality right here. Yeah, I'm saying, like, Rembrandt wanted to go home even before he was the one that was all about, we gotta get home. Let's go home. So when Vermin and Cochise ran across the girls, all right, the ladies, he's like, we don't have time for this. We gotta get home. We have to meet Swan here. We have to do this, things like that. So he was all about getting home. He was the only rational one, all right, of when they split up, all right. He was the only rational one. Hey, King of the Squibs. Right. But this is like gender equality right here. You have one of the Lizzies getting punched. One of the Lizzies like having like a chair smashed over her head. Gender equality, folks. You want to throw a punch at a guy? You want to take a swing at him with anything? This is what you get. That's why I love this scene. So, but I want to get a little further in. All right, they finally meet back up. And this, like, again. So we see Mercy again. And she's wearing a jacket. And again, the trivia is because she broke her wrist. She broke her wrist when she was running with the double standing in for Fox, the character. This is where the roller skating comes in. Yeah, pretty much. Again, this gang and the hi-hats I cannot take seriously. All right, really cannot take seriously. But for the most part, I love all the gangs in this movie. Even the ones you just see. I love all the gangs. They stand out. They even have a believability to them. But these guys here, not really. One on roller skates? No. And they look like they're wearing overalls. They look like, okay, I don't want to make this comparison necessarily, but this is what springs to my mind. They look like human versions of the good guy dolls. Looking like that. I cannot take them seriously in that regard. Chucky I can take seriously. Chucky's a menace. Chucky's evil. Chucky's a little fucking psycho. He's believable in a sense. These guys just remind me of like big human versions of the good guy doll. I cannot take them seriously. And I know overalls were big in the 70s. I know they were the fashion for the most part, but I cannot take these guys seriously because of that. They just they're like look like big kids. That's what they come across as to me. It's why I can't get past that, so I can't really take them seriously. If they were wearing just jeans, all right, yeah, they'd still come across as kind of kiddish, but not a bunch of human Chuckies. Like at least the good guy dolls. That's just in my opinion. That's why I can't take them seriously. I mean, they seem to be a menace. Right? Roasting gangs, yeah, pretty much. I'm roasting gangs. It's a decent fight. Decent fight that happens. Right? The scene in the men's room with the punks was the only scene shot on set, located at the Astoria Studios, Long Island City, Queens. Just kind of believable. Alright? So. Violent enough. Alright? Choreographed fight with the punks in the men's room took 5 days to shoot. Right? The choreographed fight took 5 days to shoot. And that was from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. to shoot. Yeah, she was so out of place in the scene. Alright. One of the punks in the men's room brawl is Craig R. Baxley. He is the one who gets thrown into a toilet stall upside down. Another is the late stunt great A.J. Bakunis. Alright, there's Gary Baxley. And is... Okay, you don't see Bakunis. Or there's Baxley there. A.J. Bakunis is not listed here, so he's not seen in this shot. The scene in the men's room with the punks was the only shot on set, so... I mean, it's pretty fucking violent. Mercy is... Yeah, she's just there. Wants a better life, but then still stirring the shits. Appropriate that's in the bathroom, pretty much, but still a little shit stirrer. Get him! But anyway. That's pretty much, like, the last, like, gang fight that we really see, because then we find out that there's actually somebody who also shot, or who also saw who shot Cyrus. Yeah, because the rogues, led by Luther, kind of thinks they're for the most part in the clear because the focus has been on the warrior. So no one's looking at them, right? No one's pointing the fingers at them as the ones who actually shot Cyrus, the leader of the Gramercy Rifts. Rob Ryder, I believe, yeah. 5 days in the toilet, yeah, pretty much. So now the Gramercy Rifts. Let's see if I can get a shot. Yeah, so far nothing. So they're keeping. So basically, someone asked earlier how the DJ would know. They have patrols, pretty much. Like they have their ear to the ground. So that's how the DJ kind of knows the scenario that's going down, because they're watching this. The Rifts are watching the streets as well. All right, so the guy in the back, right here, is another gang member. A member of another gang who saw Luther shoot Cyrus. In the script, Snow was originally named Snowball and did not say a single word until the end, when he gave a small statement about how they should fight the rogues to avenge their fallen friends. So, Don't know how I would take the name Snowball, considering I know what it means in terms of sexual activity. So I wouldn't be able to take that character. Just his name would not be able to take it seriously just knowing that. So Snow works better. Snow works better. They are practicing kung fu, yeah, pretty much. Everyone's kung fu fighting. He says he shot Cyrus. This guy right here. That Luther missed. When I say Luther missed, I mean he knew, Luther saw that the warrior, right, Fox, saw him shoot Cyrus, but he did not see this guy. So he saw this, like, he can point the finger. I also love this scene because you have these like prom kids on the subway train. I love the looks on their faces. Are like the warriors are there as well. And, like, look, there's like the warriors are so disheveled. All right, like that, and like I like just the antithesis in this scene. Like, the only ones who were really talking are the prom kids. Like, they're laughing, they're having a good time. They sit down, and there's like these two across the aisle essentially from them who look like they've been through hell and back for the evening, and it's like that whole kind of like awkward silence that happens. It's like no real words has to be said between the two. It's just like the contrast is there, and just on the looks from the prom kids, it's like you can tell what's going through their minds. You can tell what's going through their minds, and you just have that antithesis, which I appreciate in terms of storytelling and, basically laying out the scene and so forth without needing exposition. You don't need the kids to like say anything. You don't need anyone to really say anything. You can tell what's going through everyone's minds in this scene, pretty much. Rich kids versus street kids, yeah. So you can tell without needing any exposition. Again, like, I don't know what it is with the movies made nowadays. I feel like we need to be beaten over the head with exposition after exposition after exposition for every fucking scene. You get it all without hardly any dialogue in this shot. And Chris says, prom kids have a lot of guts taking us up New York subway at 5 a.m. in the late 70s. Well, I'll give them that, too. Yeah, show, don't tell. The audience can figure out what's going on. They're like, for the most part, at least. For the most part, we're not stupid. We can figure out what's going on in this shot. And the reason why it's shot the way it is, the reason why it's blocked the way it is, we can figure all that out. We can figure all that out. And even then, let's get out of here. And Mercy sees the corsage. Right, they finally made it back home to Coney Island. And we get to the... Yeah. And Luther has showed up. Luther has, like, kind of tracked the warriors. And now he's at a point where he's going to have to take care of them himself. Film language tell the story, yeah. Which I have this clip. I'll play it again at the end of the stream. All right, but part of the trivia is attributed here. It says general trivia. David Patrick Kelly improvised Luther's "Come Out and Play-ayyy" taunt, basing it on an intimidating neighbor of his. But there's a little bit of trivia about that. That Kelly disputes that in a way. Where is it? I know I read it. because it's entirely attributed to him, but he kind of says like, no, it's not entirely on me. Where is it? It's in this article. Okay, yeah, it's in the another article. Okay, so this is, though actor David Patrick Kelly has long been credited with improvising the now famous line, "Warriors come out to play" line, he insists it was Hill. "I'll take credit for the bottles and how I said it," Kelly told Entertainment Weekly in 2012. But I remember him kicking in the lines, basically. So the general trivia is kind of, in this sense, according to Kelly, is wrong, where it's been entirely attributed to him as improvising the line, and he says, no, I improvised the bottles and how I delivered it, but the credit where credit's due, and that's because Hill gave him the lines to say. So there's a little bit of a little bit of correction to the trivia. All right, a little bit of correction to the trivia, where it's basically a combination of both Kelly and Hill for this scene, but still makes it really awesome. Still makes it really awesome because it still has a level of intimidation to it. Still has a level of intimidation to it. All right, and I'll play it again. Like I said, I have the clip that I got from YouTube, and I played it at the beginning of the stream. So really, again, we really at the end, and the only thing really more to say is that you think now, like, oh shit, the Warriors have gotten back home, only to face the Rogues, survived hell essentially, only to run into the Rogues. It's like shit. There's a little bit of Deus ex machina I love in this scene. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of trivia in that. Okay, it's not added here. Yeah, Breezy Point, Queens. Right, so that's how that was filmed. Yeah, Swan's really good with the knife. Yeah. You think, oh shit, because Luther has a gun? I love this part. He doesn't really do a villain monologue, but he kind of does in a sense. Because he's like, it's kind of like the line in Austin Powers, the first Austin Powers movie, where Scott Evil is like, why don't you just shoot them? Why don't you just shoot them? It's like, it's like you have, like, I'm not trying to say this as a negative, but like that's what comes to my mind pretty much. It's like he has a gun trained on Swan, just shoot him. But he kind of does this little villain-esque monologue. It's like, which I'm not saying that's a negative. I'm not saying that's like overtly, criticizing the scene. I just get a kick out of that. Cause like, and boom. And the riffs show up. There were tales of 10 rogues. Guess only 9 went into the meeting, and they had another guy waiting out in the car. Yeah. Which makes sense. So you see the rogues here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10's there. But it would make sense that there'd be one waiting out in the car, because considering what the rogues did, you kind of want someone that you kind of want what's that? A getaway driver, essentially. So, but again, like the riff showed up, and that's the oh shit. I think there's 10 in this scene. I think that at the summit there's 9, but there's 10 in this scene, I think. So Luther knows he's in deep shit. Or at least he's worried that he's in deep shit. Because Swan goes, he's still looking for us. And that look right there. That look right there. I love that shot. Again, no real words need to be said. Swan asks, "Are you're still looking for us?" Because as far as Swan knows, these guys are coming to kill him. As far as Swan knows, these guys are coming to kill him because of what happened to Cyrus. And all this guy does is just he looks over. Like all of them just kind of look over. And that tells you right there. No. You didn't have to say no. All you had to do is look over. Yeah, we found what we're looking for. Boom. Love this movie. If you haven't watched this movie, again, I recommend it. Like I love it. He's no. He still tries to weasel out of it. He still tries to lie. He still tries to put the blame on the Warriors. It's like no, you're screwed. Bye, Luther. Bye, Luther. You're screwed. That's essentially the end of the movie, pretty much. Because the rest of the movie, like, is like there's credits and things like that. And if I wouldn't exactly show this in my English class, at least I would. At the very least, I would have to send home permission slips because of certain scenarios that happen in this movie. But I would love to be able to show this, in connection to, both. Where is it? I get a little bit of trivia. So much trivia, pretty much. Both in connection to the Odyssey. Both in connection to the Odyssey in terms of like certain beats that are similar to that epic tale that Odysseus return and impeded at just about every opportunity, every time he tries to get home, similar into what happens to the Warriors here, as well as to Anabasis. All right, it's basically the army of Greek mercenaries who align themselves with Cyrus the Younger. All right. So in connection to those two tales, to demonstrate to my students, yes, a certain piece of work was written thousands of years ago, what have you, but the themes in that work resonate in other mediums, in other in like movies or texts. So it's like, just because it was written during a certain period does not mean it's not relevant today. They cannot be read today or even seen today, like I said, in modern adaptations. All right, so you can see beats of the Odyssey in this. Like it's based on Anabasis. All right. I didn't use the director's cut for this. I just used the version I grew up watching. So right here, basically ends with the Warriors walking away, leaving the Rifts to take care of the Rogues. And the DJ let's play you a song. It's something basically Joe Walsh in the city. And that's it, pretty much. So that's the Warriors, ladies and gentlemen. That is the Warriors. Been talking about a little over 2 hours. Not entirely on the movie, but I said I couldn't exactly go into the nitty gritty of the film. It would have taken a lot longer than 2 hours. But it's one of the movies that I love. It's pretty much a modern day Greek tale, in a sense. It's like a modern day Greek tale set in the late 1970s, where the heroes that you follow is a gang, pretty much. Simple tale. Again, the Warrior, all they want to do is get home. They're impeded around every corner. They don't know why until the Lizzies kind of drop that whole, you're the ones that killed Cyrus, and then it's the realization dawns on them. That's the reason why these gangs have been coming after us. Sort of a scenario. Again, just simple. Just keep it simple, stupid. Nothing wrong with Simple. Simple knows what it is, and that's what this movie does. It knows, at least before the director's cut, knows what it is. All right, Simple. Has some decent videos on YouTube. Tell the story of the great retreat to march home in Greek history. Yeah. Simplicity is key. We do not need exposition after exposition after exposition. All right. We do not need any socio-political messages or any other type of narrative. This movie knows what it is. It doesn't try to be anything else. So sweet. Okay, I don't like. Chris, were you here when I gave my impression of the Mercy character and how I don't think she's completely necessary? I think you were. Like you could have removed her and it would not change anything. I actually would want her character to be removed. She feels tacked on. And we're supposed to believe that she and Beck have at all any romantic connection at the end of this movie. I don't buy it. I really don't buy it. And the fact that she is supposed to have better chemistry with that actor versus the actor that played Fox, and I still don't buy it, says a lot about the character. At least Mercy's character says a lot about her character. And she is unnecessary. And she's pretty much unnecessary. Yeah, I don't think this one has a shot of them holding hands. I think it's just, yeah, this one is just them walking away. Yeah, that's it. Or like you kind of see it, but not really. At least it fades out there, so it's like, sometime later that day. Yeah, pretty much. But anyway, that is the Warriors, ladies and gentlemen. That is the Warriors. Producers probably demanded a love interest. Maybe. That's why she feels she's tacked on. I think, at least maybe producers demanded it, which would have put her in the original script. But for the most part, again, her character wasn't really well written at all. But still, that should not, if you have not seen the movie, it should not deter you from watching the film. The film itself is very good. It is very good. Like I said, it's like a modern day Greek tale. I want to try to do more retrospective streams, but it's easy. Right now it's easy to do them during months that there's 5 Wednesdays to them, and I think the next month where we have 5 Wednesdays is August. I'm gonna check that real fast. I think the next month we have 5 Wednesdays is August, because June has 4, July has 4, yeah, August has 5. So next one with 5 has, but I gotta figure out a schedule to do them more, because I am trying to add streams, because I talk about cringe enough as it is during the week, whether I'm making videos, whether I'm doing the solo stream I do Friday afternoons, whether I'm doing Cringe Factory, whether I'm doing Talk Nerdy. I talk about cringe enough that I really want to add more, I guess, positive in a way, so like fun streams where we're talking about like good movies, like the retrospective streams, going like back, basically like looking back on movies from the 70s and 80s, or before all this political shit really starting entertainment. So we could have again, like fun. Just have some fun. And also, okay, my throat is hating me right now, but all right, I did promise people. Yeah, constant negative. Yeah, it got to a point where it's like I used to do Cringe Factory like every Wednesday, and it got to a point where I had to stop because it was emotionally and mentally draining me. I had to stop it. That's why I made it once a month and started doing the 1s and 2s streams, which is the first and second part of like a movie and a sequel, or the first and second of a franchise, like those streams, as well as these retrospective streams, as well as the top 10s, to have a bit more of a positivity. Bit more positivity then like just cringe on a weekly basis. All right, so the D&D story. All right, so I don't know how many of you in the chats now. I play D&D, all right? I'm that much of a nerd. Okay, play Dungeons and Dragons. Play the I don't play anything past edition 3.5. All right, so when I say I play D&D, it's like 3.3 edition 3, 3.5 is what I play with my group pretty much. Stieg Kenobi is the DM, and I and a couple others are the characters. All right, and currently we are close to finishing up the Conan D&D sessions. All right, so since last year. Yes, I'm a nerd. All right, so we play. There is actually a Conan version of D&D. All right, which if you want to talk giving people conniptions, all right, actually listed in the inventory for Conan D&D that you can purchase are slaves. Right? Are slaves. Right? And I'm going to kind of regale you for the most part on what transpired during the last D&D session. All right? Because there's only 2 of us playing, but a lot of shit went down. All right? Okay, Gravy says the story will change your life. Okay, so it's Conan D&D. My character, I play a temptress, right, named Amira. Okay, she has certain skills, and some of those skills are basically close quarters, kind of martial arts type fighting. Because she has an armor class, but she can't wear the character class cannot wear armor, so she really does not have a lot of armor at all. All right, and yes, Ms. Marmuse is still in chat. Her character is asexual. All right. Thank you, Jaluk. Yes, I might be hit with a copyright claim. I do have a Rumble channel, so this will be mirrored over there. So if anything at all gets claimed or whatever and like taken out of the stream, watch it over there, and you'll be able to watch the entire stream. But anyway, yes, very close quarters. One of the feats I have is if I roll high enough perform, all right, I can actually get guys to fall asleep after having sex for 10 hours. Okay. All right. So this one time in D&D, that's what the segment's going to be, pretty much. All right. So Teresa's character, all right, she's a thief. All right, I'm a temptress. And we were going to go to this vendor, this shop owner, who to retaliate against my character, because I made him shit himself earlier in one of the sessions. First off, Teresa, we were just going to go beat him up, right? We initially just went in there to beat him up, all right? That's all we originally were intending to do. Basically just to send a message back, all right? Okay? Well, one thing led to another, shall we say. All right, so we go into the shop. We go into the shop and we confront the shop owner named Mashoud. All right, we confront him about attacking our manservant. All right, we have a manservant. Okay, gender equality. Okay, because he attacked the manservant to get back at me in particular. So we go to confront him. All right, Mashoud's wife is there. Yeah, Mashoud's wife is there, and she essentially calls me a whore. Okay, so I remove my fighting gauntlets. My character has fighting gauntlets, which gives her extra power to her punch. Remove them because I don't want to kill her. Again, I just want to send a message. So I hand the gauntlets over to Teresa's character, Antelia, and I slap the wife. And to add insult to injury, I slap her on the other cheek. Right? Which makes her angry, and she dives over the counter at me, which gives me an attack of opportunity. So I punch her, right, with one hand. I get another attack on her, and I punch her again and knock her lights out. So this bitch is lying on the floor, passed out. All right, so I Rick James'd her. All right. Okay. So Mashoud calls his 3 thugs in. Now we have to roll initiative because now we actually have to fight these guys, which means that oh no, we're gonna kill them. Sort of situation. All right. I punch one of the thugs and I roll high enough that it's a critical, and so I crush his windpipe. That's what got rolled for the table. I punch him in the throat and crush his windpipe, so he's pretty much out for the count. Teresa's character, Antelia, dispatches two of the thugs, right, and the wife, because my character, not only was shot by a crossbow from Mashoud, but he takes a rope and puts it around my neck and drags my character back against the counter. So I have to deal with that while she's dealing with two thugs, okay? So she dispatches not only the two thugs with her sword and dagger, but she shanks the wife, right? That comes a little bit later. I jumped ahead of myself, because the wife tries to help her husband, by grabbing my legs, and she's standing in between my legs, right? Trying to hoist me up so that way he can pull me back further over the counter and I can't fight back. So she's trying to help him, all right? So again, one of my feats is I'm good at close quarters combat, right? Like I'm kind of like the martial artist of the group. And I have a grapple feat. I have a grapple skill, all right? So I reach my arm over, all right, so I can pull and push Mashoud down. So that way I'm kind of like holding his arm down and push him against the counter. Right, so that's one round. Then the next round, I take my leg, swing it over the wife, and kick her away. Okay? Playing D&D, yeah. Okay? So I kick her away, and I knock her back on her ass. That's, and she goes after Antelia, because Antelia's there, alright? And Antelia, when the wife is dispatched, and I say that dispatch is like, we fucking murdered them. Shanked her 3 times. Like, with a knife, pretty much. And while this is happening, okay, Mashoud, I throw myself back. I have my character throw herself back to knock Mashoud off balance. So, Teresa's character, all she sees are my legs flying up back over the counter and disappear behind. Alright? Yeah, blood everywhere. Pretty much blood everywhere. I like we straight up murdered. And I'm dealing with Mashoud behind the counter. I'm throwing punches at him, and the next thing my character knows is she sees a sword come through, and Telia is taking out Mashoud. So we basically are in a shop with 5 bodies. Actually, yeah, 5 bodies. The 3 thugs, the wife, and the shop owner. Like, we've dispatched 5 people. Okay, so we're standing in there, all right, kind of covered in blood. Antelia more than me because she's the one who used her dagger and her sword, all right. So we're standing there amidst chaos and just pure on like bloodletting, all right. And this guy walks in because he wants to purchase something and sees the carnage, all right. Sees the carnage, and and this character, like, Stieg is essentially playing this NPC character, all right. Initially threatens to say, what if I tell the authorities? Okay, what if I tell the authorities? So one of my character's other feats is the glorious feat. I'm level 20. I'm pretty much a MILF in progress, all right. No matter how dirty or bloody I am fabulous to people, all right? So I have the kind of power to draw people in. That's the Temptress class, all right? Yes, and this is what I say to him, Ronan, is I beckon him over. I say, I do this. I have my character do this. And I ask the guy, what would it, like, I ask him his name. He gives me his name. And I ask him where he lives. Like, where are you from? Stieg rolled high enough for that guy not to be that stupid, all right? Okay, so he's like around. That's what he answers me. So I ask him. Yeah, Finch knows. I ask him, what would it take? What would it take for you to not go to authorities? And he he asked me, what do you offer? All right. I also have the intimidate skill. Okay. So I rolled for intimidate, and I tell him 500 silvers, and I don't track you down and kill you. That's what I say to him. 500 silvers, and I don't track you down and kill you. I roll high on the intimidate. This close to making him piss himself. All right, and he settles for 300 silvers, and I tell him to fuck off. No. I could have, but he would have still been a witness. So I tell him to fuck off. Pay him and tell him to fuck off. All right, we clean ourselves off at the shop. Look for anything we can loot. And sneak out the back way so no one sees us leaving the shop. Get home to find the necromancer living with us named Archibald knocked out on the floor, and a letter on the table saying that our manservant Tybalt and our companion Arlen, Laura plays Arlen, has been kidnapped, and a ransom of 10,000 silvers is demanded. All right. Archibald didn't see anything, so he's no help. So he can't scry for anything because he didn't see doesn't have any face, doesn't have any name. So we have to go. We have to go to this where the letter says to meet, which takes 2 days travel. Right? We get there. We get off. No, I did not ask for that. That is a fucking lie, Stieg. I did not ask for it. Anyway, we get off our horses. We start heading towards the tent. A voice tells us to stop. Demands that we give our names. After we initially refuse, they threaten to kill our companions. We give our names essentially to try to save our companions. And a trap is sprung. We fall down into this pit, and these jars are dropped into the pit, broken, that release a gas, pretty much. Antilia, Teresa's character, is knocked out because she didn't roll high on a fortitude save. And my character eventually passes out. So basically No, I asked what your kink was with midget Stieg. I didn't ask for it. I asked what your kink was. And it was not on me. It was not entirely on me. You took a tweet I did and went with it. This is your own warped fucking mind, Stieg. Right? So we're passed out. My character wakes up, right, a little while later, hung by her hands, all right, with a ball gag in her mouth, naked, and I see Teresa hog-tied on the table, and these two midgets, chopping up what looks to be human meat. Yeah, because you're the one who came up with the whole fucking midgets. You're the one with the midgets kink, Stieg. You're the one with the kink. You're the one that has it. Every time a player can't play, we're somehow at a bordello with midgets. What? Like, there's midgets all over the fucking place in Conan, according to you. Anyway, so I wake up naked, hung with a ball gag in my mouth, so I can't say anything. I see Teresa hogtied, right? And these two midgets chopping up meat. Okay, I have the escape artist feat, so I'm able to wiggle out, and I sneak over to where Teresa is, and I untie her. Okay. And that's when I remove the ball gag, because I don't want to risk making any noise. This is Conan D&D. Ronan, this is Conan D&D. Right? So we sneak behind the midgets, and I can't believe those words left my fucking mouth. But we sneak behind the midgets, and we both, I behind one and Teresa behind the other, pin them onto the table, right? Pin them and try to ask them questions. Quickly realize that they're going to be of no help to us whatsoever, because all they can repeat is making meal for the king, like they're not all there. So I kill the one I'm pinning with his knife, and Teresa kills the one she's pinning with his cleaver. All right, so now we got two more bodies. So two midgets are dead. Okay, we look around. Our stuff is not there, and I look in the pot, and I realize that they were chopping up our manservant. So we are now down another manservant. So Tybalt is no more. All right, so I tell Teresa not to look in the pot. We make our way out of the cavern. We're naked still because we don't have our shit, and we go snake our way through the cavern, and we come across this bigger cavern where these 10 midgets are sitting around a fire eating. Right? Yeah, they're cannibal midgets, pretty much. Eating. Make sure someone gets this confession to the police, yeah. Alright? And we realize that their attention is not on us. Like, they are not paying attention to us whatsoever. So we sneak past them and get into this other part of the cavern. This like kind of room-esque, where we find our stuff, as well as a bunch of other shit that these midgets have been looting from caravans. So they've basically been killing people and stealing their shit and eating the people. All right? Okay? So we put our stuff on, including our weapons, right? And both Teresa and I have bows and arrows. So we decide that we the rapid shots feet. So we decide to dispatch 10 midgets. All right. Teresa kills 4. I kill 3. We kill the other 3. So now we've killed a dozen midgets. Yes, those words left my mouth. All right. I'm saying they are not all there, pretty much. They're not all there. All right, they said there was foaming at the mouths. Yes, I see your comments, Sieg. Foaming at the mouths are not normal. All right, they're not acting normal. So now we've killed a dozen midgets. All right. We make our way further into the caverns to another area where there's a waterfall and it connects to the river outside, where there's 6 more midgets as well as the king midgets. And yes, those words left my mouth. As well as Alora's character, Arlen, strung up like a trophy on display in front of the king midgets. Right? And the king midgets is a fucking little dickhead that we encountered earlier in the game. Ronan, ask Stieg. Stieg is in the chat. He is our DM. If you want to talk drugs, that's on him. All right? But this king midget is an asshole that we fucking faced earlier in the game, who had a witch for a mother, a giant for a brother, and a demon for a father. This is a little fucker. All right? Pretty much like a midget version of Chucky. All right? He has a scepter, and he's been controlling these other midgets, right, with the intention of creating a demon midget army. You heard that right. A demon midget army. Alright? You came up with this fucker before the midget bitching, Stieg. Because this is a guy that we encountered earlier in the game. Alright? So this was before the midget bitching. Do not put this on me. Okay? Oh, now the chat shows up. Right, so no, this is on you. This king midget is a fucker that we just from earlier in the game, before my bitching. Anyway, all right, so he said the king midget says his shit. I'm like fuck, and at that point I'm like fuck you. So I rapid shot the little fuck, and I impale him with 6 arrows, pretty much like a little midget pincushion. Right, so I kill him. And when I kill him, the scepter he was using to control the midgets causes his pet lizard to run away because he was controlling his pet lizard. So the pet lizard just fucks off. And the 6 midgets that are in there basically just die because they're soulless. They're little. Their souls were being controlled. They're little demons. All right. No, I'm clothed at this point. We found our stuff. Hey, Holocron. I'm just wrapping up. Right? Okay? So, but anyway. Well, you planned it ahead for a year, so you're putting it on me. And you already had this fucking scenario in your head. Jesus Christ. Anyway. So, again. So pretty much, when you include the 6 that died when I killed the king midgets and the king midgets, alright, we killed nearly 24 midgets. Add the 5 normal-sized people, alright, because we killed 19 midgets. We killed 24 in this session. 24. in one session. We get Arlen down, okay? Gather up her stuff. We make our way into this boat down the river. All right, so we can get to our horses. And that's essentially where the session ends, is getting back home with Arlen. Pretty much, right? So, again, killed 5 people in the shop, lost a manservant, killed 19 midgets, saved Arlen. I only killed 2 naked. Stieg, get it right. I only killed 2 of them while I was naked. Anyway, that was your this one time in D&D story. Yeah. Well, he was creating a little demon midget army. But there it is. That's what happened in the last D&D session. Right? And unless there's one that happens during the week, we will be taking a break next Sunday because next Sunday is Mother's Day. They were demons. No, Charlie, they were demons. There's no way we could control them. Once I killed the king midgets, can't believe I fucking say that. When I killed the little fucking king midgets, they all died. Where were the 2? 2, all right, 2, all right, that we killed in the kitchen. 10, all right, 10 around the campfire. Oh yeah, the 2 at the end of the stairs. Yeah, we killed them, basically shot them. All right, so yeah, 21 midgets. So we killed over 2 dozen beings. Yeah, so 21 midgets total. So nearly 2 dozen midgets we killed. And that was last week's session. That was the last session. There's a reason why, there's like multiple reasons why we don't stream this, and that's kind of one of the reasons. Because we do go into fucked up shit. So that was this one time in D&D chat. That was your story. So unless we do it during the week, like a side quest scenario, there will be a break. Because this coming Sunday is Mother's Day. It's not like I responded to a text. Yeah, so 26 beings total. Too hot for your phone? Yeah. We just like hearing you say, I can't believe I'm saying this. Yeah. I can't believe I'm saying this. D&D story time. That's essentially what it's turning into. I'm going to be doing these segments to regale you with what we do. So I haven't been to church, so yeah, we did. But anyway, yeah, we did. I forgot. Yeah, we did do that. With essentially the equivalent of crack cocaine in Conan. But there is that. Anyway, so thank you. This was a Warriors retrospective discussion / D&D story time. All right, so thank you all for hanging out with me. Like I said, I might try to add more of these during the months, because right now it's easy for me to do it whenever there's an extra Wednesday. But I gotta figure out a schedule so that way if I want to add more retrospective reviews, figure out how to handle that and work around other YouTube streams as well as my Kick and Twitch streams that I do during the week. Because I also do gaming streams. Confessions of a D&D player? Yeah, probably. But anyway, yeah, so yes, this is my Kick. I'm slowly building that up as an alternative to Twitch. I'm not completely giving up Twitch for gaming, but I'm not liking the direction Twitch is going. So I created a Kick account, and I game over there. I'll be gaming next on Kick this Friday. I'll be on Twitch again tomorrow afternoon for some more Apex. Yeah, this is my Twitch. Thank you so much. So there it is. So thank you all again for hanging out with me. Next week will be the top 10 discussion. It is our own personal, subjective top 10 film scores / soundtracks. All right. So your own personal doesn't mean that everyone has to agree with it. Doesn't mean that it's like on some top list somewhere. Our own personal top 10 film scores / soundtracks. So that is next Wednesday. So at 8 p.m. Eastern. So tune in for that on my main YouTube channel. Okay. Talk nerdy to us. If Steph does it, it'll be on her channel and she'll just do a solo stream this coming Saturday. I don't know if she's going to do it. I just know that that's what she told me. That if she does it, she's just going to solo it. Because I'm unavailable this weekend. I'm not able to do it. So there's that for the remainder of streams for this week. I'm going to try to put out a video tomorrow. If I'm not tired enough to take a nap, I'm going to try to get a video out early tomorrow. It's an article that you tagged me in, Trey, about what an Egyptian documentarian is doing to counter Netflix's documentary. Because the director of the Netflix series said something incredibly fucking stupid in that article. So I got to cover it. So I'm going to cover that article, try to do a video, and then jump onto Twitch in the afternoon. So that's my plan for tomorrow. And then Friday will be a solo YouTube stream in the early afternoon on my live channel, Jade Shadow Live. And then jumping on the Kick a little bit after that for some more Halo 3 ODST. So thank you all again for hanging out with me. Have a good rest of your day or evening, depending on where you are in the world. And I will see you all next time. I'm going to play you out with the Warriors come out to play and my normal outro. And I will say peace. And it's all on Steeg.
Warriors, come out to play. 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 Warriors, come out to play.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.